So it was 4:43 on a Saturday afternoon, and my life was transformed forever. I was suddenly catapulted to an important role in my life. Now, this was in a cold and sterile operating room, and my first daughter was born. When she was born, the doctor handed me small scissors and asked, "Would you like to cut the umbilical cord?" I was being prepared mentally for this moment for a long time, and I was going to rise to the occasion, not only of cutting the cord, but of becoming the perfect father. I grabbed those scissors. Yes, let's do this. I guess there's not many fathers in this room, eh? Do you know, have you ever tried that? Cutting the umbilical cord? It's not as easy as it sounds or as it looks. Do you know how, it's gross, eh? It's so slippery and so squishy. I looked like I was trying to pick up a Chinese noodle with chopsticks. A little help, please? The doctor held it for me. Snip. Third time's a charm, eh? Well, the medical staff was not so amused with that poor joke. They immediately took my small daughter and put her on a small white table with a heating lamp overhead. I immediately went to go see her. It was love at first sight. I studied her. She was picture perfect. Delicate features, cute nose, pouty lips, just like her father. Nothing could tear me away from this magical moment. And as I was studying this delicate creature, there was like a voice from behind me, a mysterious voice. It wasn't very clear at the beginning, but then I started hearing it louder and louder. "Can you come back here? There's another one!" In my moment, I had forgotten that we were having twins. Luckily, as you can imagine, the mother, the love of my life, Liane, had not forgotten. I went back. The second baby was born 7 minutes later, and with the success that I had had by cutting the first umbilical cord, the doctor cut the cord herself. And the staff immediately took her to her own small white heated table, and I followed along to go study her as well. And for a moment, in that cold and sterile operating room, with doctors, nurses, a whole bunch of medical staff, and even a few curious medical students, in that room we were 14, but just for that moment, it was just the two of us. Nothing could separate me from this baby, because there wasn't the third one. However, I was interrupted by someone else. A nurse came over to me and said, "Monsieur Matte, your first baby, we're just a little worried about her. Her blood sugar is low. We're bringing her to the intensive care unit for observation." You could say that my twins were separated at birth. I was not prepared for what I was going to see in the ICU. You see, my babies were, for 9 months, well, almost 9 months, they were bonded together. And suddenly they were separated, and it was really hard not to be able to be with them. But when I came to the ICU, it was something else. My daughter, my little baby, was in an incubator, a warm plastic box that connected her to wires and different things hanging out of her while she was disconnected from the world. And to top it all off, she had an IV stuck in the middle of her forehead. I just wanted to pick her up. Now, I don't know if you've had children in the hospital, but if so, you might know what it feels like to be powerless at the mercy of medical equipment. Meanwhile, while she stayed in the intensive care unit, the other baby was in our hospital room, not beside it. So we still had to feed, change, and clean the babies every 2 to 3 hours, right? You may remember what it was like. So in our room, we fed, changed, cleaned this baby, and then Leanne went out of our room, outside, down the hall, out of the security of double doors, down the hall. She took a left, then took it down another hall, through other double doors of security, buzzed in. Hello, can I come feed my baby, please? Let her in. They go, and she takes care of that baby while I stay in the other room. Whew. And this whole process, our room, changing, going to the other room, 3 hallways, 2 double doors of security, this whole process, guess how long it took? 2 to 3 hours. And we had to do this every 2 to 3 hours. Feed, change, clean. Feed, change, clean. Feed, change, clean. It did not stop. We didn't stop. It was perpetual. And we did not sleep. But somehow, I guess it worked. Thanks to the intensive care in the hospital and thanks to the care of Leanne, who was there for our babies, we eventually, our baby eventually made it out of the ICU. And we were finally united as a family. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, was the happiest day of my life. Well, I think it was the happiest day of my life. It's a little fuzzy. I don't remember much. I imagine it was the happiest day of my life. But I knew that we wouldn't be able to keep up this rhythm forever. So with no meals, no sleep, and no shower, we made a phone call. Hello, Mama? Hello, Mom? You remember how I said we don't need help? We need help. What? We need help. What did you say? I can't hear you. Mom, we need help. So we made it back home, and we were greeted by my mother-in-law. And she was there, and she took one first look at us, and she knew what we needed to do. See, we were famished, we were tired, and we were, what's the other thing? We were dirty, but we didn't know what to do first. Should we eat, sleep, shower? And all we wanted to do was hold our newborn babies. Eat, sleep, shower, another day. But my mother-in-law, she knew something that we didn't. She said, I will watch the babies, you go sleep. Go. Now, I was not going to contradict my mother-in-law. After all, she had herself raised 4 kids. I guess she knew what she was talking about. And we were better parents for letting her help us. You see, I believe that we only become our best when we accept the help from other people, and sometimes when we have to ask help from other people. Now, I may not be the perfect father, but I do what I can. And thanks to the intensive care of the medical staff at the hospital, and thanks to the intensive care of my mother-in-law at home, and thanks to the intensive care of people who care for me now and in the future, I may not be perfect, but I'm as close as possible. Thank you very much.